Scully came to you at age 24, and
Yeah.
she lived with you for a decade, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, is she sort of, is she part of who you are? I mean, how do you sort of, when you think about this character, is it with
I don't know, it's so weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. I mean, I in my life don't really think about her very much. The only time I really recognize myself in her is when she gets younger and sillier, and which doesn't really happen in this movie, but from time to time she was allowed to do that in the series, and but I'm sure that everybody else in my life tells me that I'm more like her.
Really?
That I bet they think because I think I'm in denial about how serious I am actually most of the time, and she's she's a quintessential serious lady.
And it just must have been such a sort of formative experience, right? I mean, 10 years during that particular age. Do you feel like that's sort of what your life was for a decade?
Yeah.
It was the show?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every once in a while I think, I was out with my partner last night quite late grabbing a bite to eat, and there was this table full of giggly 20-something girls drinking and talking nonstop and just, out having fun. And not that was ever much a part of my life even before I started the series, but, there was, when I think to myself, where was I then, or why did I skip? How did I end up skipping that period? I forget that I ended up skipping a huge chunk of that period, because I was working. Those are the years that I might have been out, with girlfriends or clubbing a bit more than I did, and out on the social scene and stuff. I was very myopic during the series, and we were also up in Vancouver, and there just wasn't room for it. There wasn't time. But so it was. I don't regret it in any way, shape, or form. But I think I sometimes forget that I was AWOL for a decade.
So what was it like to go back to her, to Scully, and to that world?
I think we were all very excited about it when we first met for a read-through. It was only the second time that I had read the script, the second and last actually, because the next step was we were working on it, and I didn't have a whole script anymore. I just had the scenes that I was working on. So it was quite a monumental event. The four of us, including Frank Spotnitz, getting together at Chris's house in Malibu to sit down and do a table read. It felt, on the one hand, it felt incredibly familiar and kind of melancholy and wistful and sweet in some way, and in other ways it felt strange and awkward and like I was an imposter somehow on this other world, and yet at the same time, it was clearly something that we'd all agreed would be a part of our futures at some point, and something we had, especially obviously Chris and Frank had worked extremely hard to bring into fruition, and it was quite emotional.
And then once you got rolling?
Yeah, it's still sometimes it felt awkward and stuff. It's weird, it's always, It's one thing to do a reading when you don't know the other actors in the room, and you can just dive in as an actor and do all the, get to the intimate parts and feel separate somehow. It gives you this kind of false sense of strength. Just the fact that nobody really knows each other, and you're just there as an actor. And there's something about knowing people and getting to that intimate place that somehow makes it even more kind of awkward, and you can get quite giggly and childish.
Really?
Yeah, no, it just seems, it's kind of like, ooh, like when you're 5 again. But I don't know, it's weird. It was a different experience than I've had before. I've never had, experience quite like that, so it was fun.
And is there any part of you that thought coming back to this movie would sort of reiterate in people's minds their association with Scully, like put you back a step in breaking away from it?
I don't think so. I mean, unless I'm delusional, I don't think that will happen. I think I've done enough. I've done enough stuff already, and also I've got enough other things coming out that are different, and things scheduled for the future that are different, that I don't imagine it would be an issue. And if it is, then that it is what it is. It's right. Just, I wasn't going to pass this experience of this reunion by because that might be the case, or because people might,
So, in the end, did this end up being fun to go back? Was it like a reunion?
To go back through all the stuff?
Well, to go back to X-Files.
To go back? It was definitely a reunion for all of us, I think. The odd thing is that as much as you build something up and as much as you get excited about showing up on the first few days, etc., it very quickly, within the first week, becomes a job. It becomes another job, and it just becomes about survival through the hours and the weather and all that kind of stuff, and you have to keep pinching yourself and waking up and going, hang on a second, hang on to this, because this may be the last time. This may be, look around you and see, look, there's David. It's kind of weird to look across the room at him sometimes, either on the soundstage or in the scene, and see him sitting there, and just the flashes of memory and just the peculiarity of arriving back at this place again. When we're both obviously older, and it was great.
And it sounds like you have a great fondness for one another.
Yeah, we do.